Hi, I'm April Boykin. I'm a holistic psychotherapist and an Eden Energy Medicine advanced practitioner.
And I'm Andrea Vaughn. I am a clinical social worker and I'm an alignment coach. Welcome to our podcast, Healing Doesn't Have to Hurt.
This is a podcast for anyone who is on their healing journey, seeking personal growth and alignment through gentle practices that honor our nervous system and our soul.
We're glad you're here. Here we are, episode 1, finally. This has been like a year in the making.
It has been a year in the making. I think it was last summer in July when we started talking about doing this.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Let's talk about first how we came up with this concept, the title and the concept of the podcast. I think that would be fun.
Okay, so when we started, we were talking about Healing Doesn't Have to Hurt, which is the title of our podcast. Yeah. And for me, a year ago, I think June, I went with a group of female holistic healing professionals to Oaxaca, Mexico. And it was so amazing. There was so much good stuff that we did. But one of the things that we did that was a little scary was we did a traditional sweat lodge.
I remember this story. I love it. Yeah. Good one to start with.
Okay. Well, so we had a Zapotec or Zapoteca priest who led the sweat lodge. And somebody on the trip had been in a sweat lodge before, and they weren't allowed to leave when it felt like too much. And so that was kind of in my head. Okay, am I going to be able to do this? What's going to happen if I pass out? What if I get too hot and I get dizzy? And what am I going to do? And so I went in with some trepidation. I went in with some fear. And really, for me, that lends this sense of how am I going to heal through an experience because I'm afraid, because I'm sitting in discomfort? Is this really going to help me? Because that's not a place where I grow from. I don't feel good when I'm afraid, and it doesn't inspire me to do better. Mm-hmm. However, this man changed my life. He said something that just shifted, and I have so much emotion when I talk about it. As we're going in, he's getting us comfortable with it. He's teaching us how to breathe. And we have to crouch down to climb in this little thing because he's building up the heat in this space, and it's only going to get higher. And he starts helping us breathe and breathe in and get acclimated to this heat. And then he says, you do not have to suffer. Do not suffer. Do not suffer. If you need to get up and leave, leave. If you need to open the door, open the door. You do not have to suffer.
We are not used to hearing that.
Ever.
Thinking that anything. That's so powerful.
It was so powerful. And I was like, oh, all the tears came. Yeah. But I softened and my fear left. And it gave me agency to be in my body and make choices that were for my best self. And it really just rolled out for me. And how many other places. I got through the entire sweat lodge, but I always recognized I can leave, and there's no shame in that. But yes, I have the agency to choose what I need, and there's no shame in that.
That last piece is so important, and there's no shame in that, because we do associate shame and weakness with taking care of ourselves sometimes. That must mean we're not strong enough or tough enough.
Right.
And I remember you coming back from that trip and saying, what did you drink in Mexico? It was really, it transformed you so much. You had such a shift from that.
It was an amazing experience. And I have been able to look through that lens of not suffering for the last year. I know you've heard me say it many, many times, but it's really this idea that we have been told in the healing profession, oh, well, this is going to hurt. You got to sit in the emotion. You got to sit in the feeling, in your feelings. Yeah. And we judge people, and it's not good or bad, right? It's not good or bad if someone sits in their emotion or they don't sit in their emotion, that they intellectualize. It's just information about what we need to do. But we don't have to sit in the hurt to be able to release it. And there's so many wonderful modalities, treatments, support services, things we can do that release the trauma, release the pain, release the hurt, and give us our own agency to choose without suffering.
And I think as you and I have discovered these modalities through our own journeys, I think that's when we start getting so excited to share with other people, because it was a novel idea for me, got to share your story. and you need to relive the trauma, and and there's nothing wrong with doing any of those. You just don't want to live in that place.
No, and research actually tells us that when you retell your story over and over and over and over, you can actually just re-traumatize yourself, and you're not getting the healing growth.
Right.
So certainly important to talk about the trauma or whatever you have going on, but it is not necessary to wear that story as a badge.
Yes.
Right? It's not necessary.
Oh, that's I like the word badge too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or an armor or So I want you to talk about we started talking about this podcast when we were in a class in St. Pete. So talk about that.
And that was a year ago in July.
It was a year ago in July.
Yes, it was for the Psych K training.
Yes.
Right? And it was just learning how to kind of change your belief system. Pretty much that was the core of the belief system of whatever kind of is interfering with you living your best life and whatever's holding you back. And I'm always nervous about anything new that I try. You're so much more bold than I am, but I'll do it anyway. It doesn't stop me. But I'm accustomed to anytime I'm going to go to a retreat or a training or go back to therapy, I'm prepared for some tears. I'm prepared for some suffering because I equate that with successful processing moving forward.
Yes.
I just have that in my mental definition. And so we practiced so much that weekend on each other, and we learned so much theory and practice and techniques. And I remember working on a particular issue that wasn't even that traumatic an issue. It was just I had been getting more anxious about driving because I'd had an accident. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was driving the whole
I know. I made you drive. I drove down there, but then when we were in this new unfamiliar city, well, you don't mind driving? Okay. No big deal. It didn't interfere with my life, but my anxiety has risen as I've gotten older. And all of a sudden, I learned through that weekend that, oh my gosh, I feel so much lighter, so much freer. I didn't suffer one moment during this whole training, this whole weekend. It was the most pivotal, recent modality experience that I've had, where all of a sudden I feel growth and progress. I didn't suffer a bit. It was painless. It was fun. I was smiling at times. I was peaceful. What? And I remember us driving home. I don't think we stopped talking. I mean, that's us anyway. But the whole way home, we just kept thinking, we have to share this.
Yes.
Because we have so many clinicians in our lives, but also all of us are healing on different parts of our journey.
Yeah.
And whenever something works for you, you want to share it. And that was so pivotal for me to realize there is another way, in addition to anything that we've tried in the past, where you can feel peaceful and calm and grow, and you don't have to suffer.
So I think it was a 3-day class.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of the process for Psych K, which we'll talk about, we'll do a podcast just about how amazing that modality is.
Yeah.
But the focus is on what you want, not what you don't want. So you never have to talk about all of the negative feelings or all of the negative things that you have going on or what you remember. You just make a decision about how you want to feel about something. So whether it's driving, or it's a relationship, or it's your relationship to something like money or family, or you want to feel better about your worth and value, you just state what you want. And then you work through their processes to achieve that. So what I saw for you as we went through that whole weekend, and certainly felt it for me, is you just get higher and higher and higher. Like you feel so good. Ooh, I've balanced this, or I've kind of cleaned out that closet. I've improved in this area. And what I have experienced using Psych K is all of a sudden things just fall away.
Yes.
And they don't matter anymore.
Something that was kind of like here is like here. You just have some distance from it. And you don't like really necessarily know when did that just happen. Yeah. But all of a sudden you just feel lighter. And I drove home. That last day, I remember we got in the car that last day and I didn't even think about it. It wasn't like I thought about giving you the keys. It was that automatic, like, okay, let's drive. And I remember going around this little rotary and in St. Pete and saying, April, look, I'm driving.
And I remember.
Like a little child, but like, look at this. I have no anxiety about this.
Yeah.
That's magic.
It was magic. It really shifted. And I remember days later you're saying, this is so different. So with those two experiences, this message of really not suffering, just kind of took root
Mm-hmm.
in my life, in your life,
Absolutely.
looking for positive ways. And really what we are doing is challenging the typical mentality of no pain, no gain.
Yes.
And, certainly that's in the wellness industry, it's in exercise, but it's also in the healing modalities,
Mm-hmm.
right? There is this belief that we have to dig up, turn over, work through, move through all the stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
All the things that have happened to us. And really what we're going to talk about in this podcast is what you can do when that is not how you want to heal.
Yeah.
Or when that type of healing hasn't worked.
Mm-hmm. Right. Sometimes you're in therapy for years and years and you're fixated. I don't know anybody like that, but when you're fixated on this issue, you can't get past it. I've told my story, it feels like a million times. I don't have any emotion associated with anymore, but I know how I'm still affected. Yes. And it's in my cells of my body, and it is in the grooves of my brain. It is in the thought patterns. It's in my beliefs. And for so long I resigned. Like, well, this is just who I am. I am my trauma. Mm-hmm. And this is just how I think. And if that's not going to change, and I'm okay with that, I kind of try to make peace with it. There's another way. And I can't wait to share that with people.
Well, I think what you said is so important it's the grooves of my brain.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually your brain and your nervous system. So it is a pattern that has been created. And so you learn to manage it.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, you habituated to that feeling, right? We get
through your nervous system?
Through your nervous system.
Okay.
You habituate. I'm used to feeling this way and I'm okay.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that it doesn't still trigger the anxiety or the stress or the overwhelm. Yeah. It just means I'm familiar with this one.
I'm familiar
with this one. That's what habituation means.
Mm-hmm.
So I get used to this. So I deal with this. It doesn't register as stress anymore, even though it's still stress. Right. And so that doesn't calm the nervous system. It doesn't calm the brain. The body's still saying, you're not safe. You're not safe. You're not safe.
And I'm kind of clicking right now. Bear with me. And I knew this, but I don't know. You learn on a different level each time, right? That understanding, that's why I could tell my story. Understanding doesn't equal a peaceful nervous system.
No.
It's totally separate.
No, completely
there
different.
We go.
Insight is insight.
Yes.
Which is great for our brain. Our brain chews on insight.
Mm-hmm.
It can think through. But if you do not connect the insight to also detaching from the trauma, right? You still have to get that piece disconnected and regulate your nervous system.
Yes.
So a lot of this podcast, a lot of our plans are to talk about how do we regulate our nervous system so that when we have that insight or that thought or what they're thinking through, we can also be calm. And when you're able to calm your nervous system while thinking about that,
it's so different. It's a game changer.
It's a game changer.
Yes.
It no longer is what leads you. Right? Your nervous system is making decisions about how you drive the bus or the boat or whatever you're driving, right?
And one of the many things I value in my friendship with you, and what I'm so excited for the podcast, is that each episode we want to share at least one technique or tool that everybody can use right away to help regulate the nervous system.
100%.
I'm so excited for that. Yeah. And I always need reminders.
Well, I think that the more we focus on just regulating our nervous system from day-to-day stressors, when we're dealing with the tough stuff, it will become second nature.
Yes.
We are building our resilience. We're building our toolkit, so to speak.
Yeah.
And we just get used to it. I think recently we were in a meeting together, and afterwards you said to me,
I know exactly what
you said to me,
That's,
do you realize you were humming? And I'm like, no.
You were humming like almost the whole time. Just low grade, like a mom in a kitchen. Like it was all like a thing. I'm like, does she know? And we always call each other out on our stuff with love. but that is a wonderful way to regulate yourself.
Sure.
So there might be fun ways to find a way to do where everyone doesn't hear you.
Well,
I'm just teasing.
I think you were the only one, at least you were the only one who said anything about it. But I was having some distress in the meeting we were in, discomfort, and I don't want to feel that way. So a hum. And I didn't realize it has been something. I remember being a 6-year-old, 7-year-old kid, and the teacher in class saying, okay, who's humming? Stop.
Really? Like you did it?
100%.
So you just kind of found that on your own.
Always done it. And somebody had to elbow me and say, stop humming. And I'm like, huh?
Wow.
It's me. And I didn't even realize.
But you had this.
It is
you
my
just had this knowledge that is something that was soothing for you.
It's intuitive knowledge. And then actually the research, there's a book called The Humming Effect.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's do that as our tip for today.
Okay,
it's called The Humming Effect.
Okay.
And it is, the research has found that when you hum, you stimulate your vagus nerve. And we'll talk about that in another podcast, but the vagus nerve is part of the parasympathetic nervous system. It is part of the rest, digest, and recover. And so when you hum, or sing or laugh, anything that stimulates it, you calm your nervous system. And so we can hum happy birthday.
Okay.
Let's do that.
I'm in. Okay.
So take a big breath. Yeah.
Together. I'm in hummed in harmony.
And I don't know that I ever have harmony. It's not my thing.
No, you kept the melody great. It's so true. That feels great.
It does feel good.
And I just remembered when I'm going over a bridge, driving over a bridge, I don't love it. I always sing. And I thought it was to help me keep breathing, because breathing helps calm down. But I think there is so much more to it.
So much more to it.
Yeah.
And so when you hum, it will stimulate your vagus nerve, which runs right here. You can even put your fingers behind your ears and feel when you hum.
There's a little vibration.
It's the vibration stimulates it. When you go to a concert and you sing, or you go to church and there's choir, when you sing, you are a comedy club, you're laughing, you are stimulating this vagus nerve, and it relaxes the whole body.
Oh, well, it's so true.
And it allows you to recover.
Yeah. Or laughing.
Yeah. And it builds the resilience and it calms the nervous system. So the book is called The Humming Effect. It is a fabulous little tiny book, but it's research based.
Yeah.
And it really makes a difference.
Okay, that's great. I'm going to be reading that.
Yes. I'll probably have them on my back if you can borrow.
Okay. Deal. That's great. I'm excited. So this is what we're going to do every week. We're just going to share. And hopefully we can get feedback from people about, I tried that worked. That didn't work for me. Other suggestions, because we learn so much from each other.
We do.
Love it.
We really do. And we're going to just go through as many different modalities that work with the body, that work with our energies, that work with our brains, that work with our souls and our spirits. We're going to talk about all the things that we can do to improve our well-being, increase our energetic vibration, and just build us up.
And feel joy and peace in the process instead of crying. I mean, there has a place, but I would prefer singing any day.
I know. All right. Well, people do better when they feel better.
Yeah. And remember, I want to add one thing. Every episode, I want to add a joke.
Okay.
I know you don't love jokes.
She is such a dad joke person. Go ahead.
Is this all right? I'm going to tell you this one.
Yeah. Tell him it's a good it's a good dad joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
What is the difference between people from Dubai and people from Abu Dhabi?
I don't.
Thank you, humor. The people from Dubai don't like the Flintstones, but the people from Abu Dhabi do.
Oh my god,
that is funny.
That is funny. Yeah,
I just
dad jokes.
Laugh, right?
Yes, we need to laugh. Yeah. Dad jokes are always good for a laugh.
That's going to be my contribution.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with me. I love that we get to do this together.
I am so excited that we get to do this. This is, for me, it's going to make a difference in my wellness. And
do reminders.
I need reminders, and I need to practice what I preach. And there is no better way than to show up and make myself accountable.
Yeah, and share.
And share.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Time.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.